What's going on, guys? We are back here in North Carolina. This trip was an adventure for sure. 29 hours of driving, 1,500 miles. To say I'm a bit saddle sore is a little bit of an understatement. Let's start with day one, shall we? A little bit of backcountry riding. on local highways. Select Cycle of Greensboro.
Morning everybody, Man here. We are at the incredible Select Cycles. The first stop, a long voyage. In a little bit I'm going to take you inside. We're going to do a virtual walkthrough and we're going to sit down with the owner and do an interview. Be right back with you.
A quick tour.
Alright, here we are guys at the one and only Select Cycle. In my opinion, the greatest dealership on the planet. Let's take a look around. We've got the Triumph line. Look at that. Got the bobber here. Sweet Vespas.
Chef's dad knows about the stories about he's meant to want this muscle.
Is that 350?
Yeah. 350.
17 stories tall. I want to put those there.
I gave it up.
Look at them, madame. Did you say we were doing skid plate things? I'm just gonna leave that off until shorter times. When is
What do we have here? 2018 Classic 500 Battle Green.
Were, and then we had to order the other things. So we got them. So did mine. Exact same.
The 18 comes standard with the passenger pillion. And of course, we come around to this side. You got the rear disc brake.
and an interview with the owner, John.
As I was saying before, these are the top 10 questions that my subscribers and some forum members wanted to know. How long have you been in the motorcycle industry?
Personally, I've been involved since 1972.
Quite a little bit.
I'm trying to think of how many years we got to add up. So 46 years.
How'd you get started in it?
The easiest thing to answer there is my mother worked for Sears here in Greensboro at the Catalog Merchandise Distribution Center, and you could look up a moped or a motorcycle, a Bridgestone motorcycle in Sears catalog, and she'd bring it home. So I started with in the 60s on mini bikes and mopeds, and by 72 I had a driver's license and I was riding a Bridgestone from Sears, a little two-stroke 250 twin, and it went from there. But whatever I wanted, I could look it up in the catalog, and my mother had a station wagon, so next day I'd be home in the back of the station wagon. I'd put it together and there it'd go. And from there it progressed to racing and larger displacement bikes and most every conceivable make and model. I still have a favor toward two-strokes. I collect a lot of vintage two-strokes, so that's still a passion of mine.
Okay. What changes have you noticed over the years in the motorcycle?
There are so many features on today's bikes that not only less maintenance, more reliability. Back when I was riding panhead Harleys, if you went on a 100-mile trip without a big tool bag, you weren't going to make it. And then I graduated up to like a CB 750 in the 70s, and bikes like that changed the industry because you could go from here to the West Coast with no concerns. I mean, and it was that sudden of a shift from something you couldn't reliably go on a 100-mile trip to where you could go unlimited and have full confidence that you were going to make it without any breakdowns. But up until those type bikes came around, you know, you had the small displacement stuff that you could ride locally, but stuff like the 750 Honda made the industry change, the technology, the reliability, fuel economy. There was just so many things that changed. So I had ridden the old British bikes, Harley stuff, and if you weren't leaking oil, you were breaking down. So that's the most notable change, is reliability.
What brought you to Royal Enfield?
Royal Enfield's a very iconic. There's nothing like it. You know, I always liked. When I was racing motocross, I always had a passion for the BSA 441 Victor, which was a single four-stroke, and I just loved the sound and the abilities of that bike. Although by that time the two-strokes had made it irrelevant in the motocross world, but it was back from the 50s and the 60s. The BSA Victor 441 single was a popular bike for motocrossers, and it really was something I always enjoyed, and Enfield reminded me a lot of that, a big thumper single that had plenty of torque, plenty of heavy flywheel there to get you out in the woods and pull up stumps with, whatever you want to do, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But there's nothing like it. You know, the Japanese can make all these singles very economical, but they don't have a soul and a heritage like the Enfield. The Enfield's got roots that just the looks alone are enough to excite me, you know. And I just love the sound of the single, the thump, and I guess what really started that was the 441 Victor, you know. It's a British single that I often cherish.
Tell us a little bit about the Royal Enfield sales for your location.
We're in a very urban downtown area, which is perfect for Enfield. Enfields are not built to get out here like you're going to do and go to Florida. That's what most people don't do with them. They go local, 100-mile trips, a fun day for them, and that's kind of where these little bikes excel. You know, they'll do 70 mile an hour comfortably and reliably, and you're not really looking to go on a 600-800 mile trip on these things. Some people do, and I admire you. You can do it. It's doable. But in an urban area, we do very well with small displacement, but yet you've got that look and that sound, and when you go up to a bike show, you can have a lot full of all the metric bikes and the Harleys, but you pull on Enfield, especially one like your military edition Enfield, and everybody's going to gravitate toward it. You know, it's just something different. And It's just that kind of bike that fits in a hip downtown setting, ride it around town, or you can get out and cruise the interstate if that's what you want to do. I think in our location it does extremely well because of the demographic and just the area we're in. We're not on an interstate, you know, it's what, 7 miles to an interstate, so you're not going to hit 70 miles an hour for at least for 3 or 4 miles around us, you know. So it's a great bike for 45, 55, 65 mile an hour trips.
Now, what services do you provide here as far as maintenance-wise?
There's nothing we don't do. I mean, we can do full fabrication, whatever, but our main goal is routine maintenance, the support you need to keep your bike, either customize it and make it personal for you, but we want to keep it reliable and give you the performance upgrades, whatever the ideas you might come up with. Our goal is to make you different and not just a bland replication of everybody else, and give you the pathway to do that through our experiences and our knowledge and resources. We've got connections with most every vendor. We've been doing this a long time, so not only nationwide but worldwide, we got people we work with and connect with, and we know who to go to for certain things. We've been down a path, well, that didn't work, we better not do that again. So we kind of crossed all those things. A lot of people just getting into these British bikes and haven't really experienced it yet, are going to be disappointed some of the things they find out that are not like that Japanese brand sitting there beside it on the floor. But for us, that makes it exciting. We know the differences, and we still know how to make it reliable. Something you can count on.
Absolutely. Now, do you offer custom and performance tuning?
We do. The Enfield has some limitations. It's not a bike you're going to go really radically different on, but some of our brands you can certainly double the horsepower or whatever you want to do. So yes, we have that, and we'll continue. As I told you, I drive an Enfield with a sidecar, a C5, and I've done several upgrades on that because when I'm carrying a passenger in a sidecar, I don't want to get past. I want to be able to at least hold a relative safe speed, and so there's several things that an Enfield can have done, and more is coming. That's the good news. Every day more products are being made for these bikes that will enhance the ride.
Absolutely. What do you think sets you apart from other Royal Enfield makers?
I think our passion for the brand. We're not just doing it to make a buck. We don't have 42 brands. We have Vespa, Triumph, and Royal Enfield, so we better make you happy with one of those. And it's a premium experience. It's not a price-driven relation. It's something where you want not only the t-shirt, but you want the fit and understand what makes this bike work and what makes you a part of the culture. And again, we're not in here trying to just pour out bikes and fill the world full of cheap motorcycles. We want you to get the bike made for you and have the experience that you can get. And we kind of tailor it like you're going to get clothes. You know, you can go buy them pre-made or on the shelf in various forms, but you can also go to a tailor and he can make it perfect fit. And that's what our goal is, to make that bike perfectly fit you. We get to know you, you get to know us, and we see what's the best combination.
And your overall opinion of Royal Enfield?
It's much better and getting better. I am excited for what's coming, and I can only say that the things that are coming are certainly going to change people's opinion of the brand. It's been that kind of a closet brand that you really never heard of, and now you see one and you want to know more, and you never see one on the street or anything. And with the launch of the new Himalayan and certainly the Twins coming, I think it's going to be more mainstream, but I think it still will have the character and the heritage attached to it. It's like Triumph's done so well with their models. You know, they've tried all these different facets of the cruiser market, all the different realms, but ultimately when you think of the brand, you think of the classic and the heritage, and that's what people want. They gravitate toward it. You can't find it in other brands. Nobody's doing a good job in that. There's just no one really doing what Enfield and some of the British bikes like Triumph are doing. They're keeping that heritage. It looks authentic, it looks old, but yet it's modern in technology, and it's reliable, and it's got the things you need to be safe.
And where do you see Royal Enfield's future headed? Do you have any predictions?
But they can sell this year 900,000 bikes worldwide. I predict that they'll continue that growth in the low displacement in their home markets, but the thing that I see happening for them is in North America here, in Canada and the United States, you're going to start really seeing an explosion of the brand. The only thing I can equate it to is, you know what, in the mid-'80s when Hyundai hit the scene, nobody had ever heard of a Korean car, and it took a few years for people to pick up and trust it. Now Hyundai is on par with any of the other Japanese or even domestic makes. So just think that kind of cycle, you know. I don't think they're going to do it overnight, but I think they're going to get a foothold and they're going to continue to grow and grow and grow.
That is absolutely wonderful.
All right.
Well, again, John, I'd like to thank you, sir.
Sure. There's that. Brad, let me know if there's anything I can do along the way. I know some people if you need anything, but I think you've already made pretty good connections.
And we were off to Team Power Sports of Raleigh.
here we are at Team Power Sports of Raleigh. Let me tell you something. They're just some nice guys. There's going to be a slight change. I was supposed to be speaking with Mr. Alpizer, but apparently over the weekend he has fallen and broken his leg. Good thing he's not a horse. So here in a little bit, we're going to go inside and we are going to take a look around and see what they carry. Then we'll do a little interview. Not quite sure who it's going to be with just yet, but we'll figure it out. I'll see you guys inside.
Another tour?
Alright guys, we have ventured our way into Team Power Sports of Raleigh. Now I've went ahead and took a quick little sneak peek to see what they have, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Let's take a look around, shall we? Kawasaki. Now they also carry Zero, and we'll find out a little bit more about them later. It's an all-electric motorcycle. I know a little bit, not enough to comment. Here's one currently on the Charger. Interesting. Let's make our way over to this particular corner. My personal opinion, best corner in the place. Again, the 2018 models. No more key required for the Classic's fuel tank.
Yeah, the ADC 4190.
And of course,
Yes, that's the right number.
you have the charcoal canister for emissions. The passenger pillion comes standard, and disc rear brake.
Alright, so that you're
The only noticeable differences. Still black. And a couple Himalayans here. Alright, let's make our way over into the next room. Accessories, luggage, clothing, jackets, helmets, boots. Slightly larger selection. Well, there you have it, guys. The second stop on a long trip. Alright, be sure to subscribe, stay updated. Thank you for watching.
In another interview.
Alright guys, I'm here with Severn from Team Power Sports in Raleigh, North Carolina.
They ride the same.
Awesome. And Severn, I've got 10 of the most popular questions that people want to know about the dealership.
Shouldn't be using it around.
How long have you been in the motorcycle industry? Team Power Sports is a company that's been in the motorcycle industry for 32 years this year. Started in a smaller dealership just carrying a Honda back then, and now we've got 2 locations and a whole variety of motorcycles, both Japanese, British, Indian, American, electric,
But on campuses and
a
stuff.
whole bunch of stuff. Cool.
Park right up to the building. I know I would you probably saw.
How'd you get started in the industry
Park
yourself?
right in front of the
Personally,
building.
about 7 years ago.
Yeah, man, I
this
was
summer,
so jealous.
and
because I spent
I reached the end of what I was doing at the time and took a little bit of time off, and I needed something to keep me busy. And the motorcycle business is kind of interesting because you get to deal with basically adult toys all the time. And I figured, if I was going to pick something to deal with, it might as well be something I enjoy. So I started selling motorcycles.
Oh, I didn't
7
get
years
it.
later,
Yeah.
it keeps me
Yeah,
just
no.
well taken care of, that I can afford to stay here and do stuff I like all day. And as you can see, I work with a few customers while you're here, and they're all doing the stuff I enjoy playing with. So it's a fun place to be.
Excellent. Let's see, what changes have you noticed?
Over the years that I've been here, probably the most noteworthy thing to me is that we started seeing interest in bikes that have a little more personality to them. It's one of the reasons we have a little Enfield here, as well as some of the electric stuff and kind of more cutting edge future technology type of stuff. 7 years ago when I came here, I really felt like everybody kind of wants the 4-cylinder Japanese sport bike. And that's kind of the hot thing. And now we get to deal with a lot more versatile type of vehicle, and the market has spread out to where there's a lot more different things to pick from. So I think that's my favorite thing. All the economy has obviously changed a lot in the last 7 years. We were in a little bit of a crunch back then, and it made it a little bit harder decision for some people to buy something that's kind of a toy like a motorcycle, or at least spend a decent chunk of money on some of the higher end ones. To now where it's a little bit more versatile, and you get people who are still uncomfortable spending a lot of money, have a budget-oriented option, but then there's kind of all the way in between, and you really get a lot of choice. You can have 4 or 5 and cut the whole range. was the fun part.
So what exactly brought you guys to Royal Enfield?
It filled a space in our dealership that we really didn't have anything else to fill. The type of bike they make is really centered around this classic style, obviously, with a real simplified, it's simplified technology that's been around a long time, that's tried and true, proven, tested, and reliable. But still at an affordable price point. So it's a lot of the time, even with cars or with Japanese motorcycles, you want something that's always going to work. And even if it doesn't have a bunch of bells and whistles, it may still be $8,000, $9,000. So when you go to this, even at the low end, and cars are going to be even more. So Royal Enfield fit this kind of spot where it appeals to, I think, a lot of people. There's trendy kind of hipster types that just want an old school bike and aren't worried about reliability. We've got customers who just want to get on something simple. They don't have to wrench on all the time and put thousands and thousands of miles on them. And overall, it's kind of just a versatile bike that fit in a space that we didn't really have covered by any of the Japanese bikes that we already have from other brands. So I think it was a pretty easy decision for us.
Okay. What about your sales for Royal Enfield?
Yeah, slowly picking up. So we've had Royal Enfield since last winter, beginning of winter. And it took us a minute to kind of figure out what people were looking for when they came and looked at Royal Enfield. And slowly gotten better at that. And also Royal Enfield's gotten better at kind of broadening their product line. Bikes like the Himalayan and some of the ones we were discussing, like the Pegasus coming, and they're starting hopefully soon to send us some bigger motors with the 650 twins. And that's brought a lot of attention. I think the biggest thing that's been exciting for us is how many people come in wanting the new Himalayan. It's a ridiculously fun bike. It's only 400 cc's, but I've been home on our demo a whole bunch of times. People are buying those. They love them, and they're under $5,000. So selling these is pretty easy. It is.
Okay, excellent. What services do you provide here?
As a dealership, services we provide go the whole way between you wanted to look on the internet to see information about motorcycles to having one sitting in your garage and then living with it afterwards. You can go through all the way through our website and see details and specs and info if you're into that on every bike we carry from every line. And you want to purchase a bike, we've got them all in the showroom where you can find them. You can secure financing here, you can get insurance here, you can buy parts and accessories and helmets and jackets and gloves. You can take them to service department and get aftermarket parts installed and get your maintenance done and get your flat tire fixed, get a new tire, and on and on. We're pretty much a one-stop shop if you like motorcycles or involved with motorcycles. Even after the fact, you don't have to spend any money. You come here on a Saturday and get free food a lot of the time, or we'll go on a bike night. I mean, we kind of do it all. We're all here because we like doing motorcycle stuff. So chances are, as long as it has to do with the motorcycle, we'll either be able to help you here or be able to figure out where you should go locally close by. And help everybody there.
What about custom and performance modification?
Absolutely. The only thing we don't do performance-wise is have a dyno, and we outsource that if we need to. We've done exhausts and tunes and customization stuff. We just did, we painted a brand new Suzuki a couple of weeks ago. The customer wanted flat black and it didn't come with flat black, and now it's flat black. And we can outsource some of that we don't have. Obviously, we don't have a paint booth here, but we have a quality place that I'm comfortable sending a customer to or sending a business to. They'll knock it out. But as far as aftermarket parts and accessories from Enfield and every other brand, we have pretty much access to everything you can imagine. So when I need something, I just walk over to the parts department. So we got all of it. And if they want to install it, if they have time to install it, we put it on.
Excellent. So what would you say sets you apart from any other dealer in the area?
I think, given that I haven't spent time in the dealerships in the area that also carry Royal Enfield because we're a little bit spaced out. The closest one's a couple hours away now, I think. the thing I'd have to guess are access to having all of the models and as much as we can here in inventory so you can see them in person. I know that we've got a larger parts department, accessories department than pretty much anywhere you can walk into in the area, and then having all of the bikes on hand is, I believe, something that not everybody else has got going for them. So we've got the full line all the way. They're off the camera both directions. You really can come and see everything all at one time, and if you want to compare it to something that is totally different, the whole you get bikes from every kind of direction you can think of. I like that.
And your personal opinion of Royal Enfield as a whole?
As a company, as a motorcycle, that's a tough. I feel like that's a difficult question. I like watching them expand. I wish them a lot of success. 3 years ago, I had heard of Royal Enfield, didn't know really anything about them. Beyond that, I was pretty sure they were a British motorcycle company that made old motorcycles, and that was about all I knew. And watching the progress they've made in the U.S. and kind of blow up the model line to where there's all these different choices has been cool. And they make a bike. Every time I kind of expose myself to a new motorcycle or new brand, they always have kind of a trial period where I have an open mind, but I get to learn whether or not my customers are going to be happy with them in the long run. And because there are those that exist that, 2 months down the road, 3 months down the road, they all end up back in the service department for some kind of odd issue or something like that. And it's always kind of a trial period where we get to find out, are we selling something the customers are going to be happy with? And they've done really well by me. So they're simple. They have their small little quirks, but we have yet to see a big issue. And so I think that gets a lot of respect for me, that they can build a bike that I don't have to repeatedly consult people about has had a problem or something like that. It's a simple price point motorcycle. They don't have to do as well as they do, I think, in order for it to be worth it. But they do well. We got customers with 25,000 miles on them now that just bought their bike last fall or last winter, and ride them every single day. So that's something that I notice, and that may just be me being on the business side of it and dealing with a lot of customers with motorcycles. That's probably something I appreciate about them the most. I can't wait to see their new bikes come. I wish they would come sooner. I'd like to see 650s in the dealership now, and I think people would like to ride them. But we get to wait. We get to wait for that one. Yeah, now, right?
Where do you see Royal Enfield in the future? And do you have any predictions of where they're going to go, what they're going to do?
I try and keep myself from predicting too much about stuff like this. There's bikes in here that I've thought we're gonna get a new one of every year for the last 5 years, and now they're still the same. I think where do I see Royal Enfield's future headed? I think they're making bigger motor stuff. If they send us 650 twins in a time frame that's reasonable, and people like them and they're reliable, they will sell a lot of them. I think they'll become a larger, more well-known brand. They'll have more dealers, they'll have more bikes, and more people will know what they are. And in the U.S., they make tons and tons and tons of motorcycles that are everywhere overseas, and I'd like to see them have more growth in the U.S. And I think that the new models that are coming are going to help a lot with that. So I think it's inevitable that they expand here.
Oh yeah.
And that's helpful for everyone. The current owners will have more places to take their bikes to get worked on. If they need parts, there'll be more options. It's kind of good for everyone.
All right. Well, I thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
And I stayed the night at home on night 1 because it was local. In the next video, we are off to Charlotte, North Carolina, and then to Georgia. Thanks for watching, guys. And again, if you like my content, please subscribe. And again, thank you.